Shalom, shalom, Israel. It's Manatazak from Warriors of Israel here in Chicago. And I want to start off by saying all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Wamalak, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, Rakar Kodash. And I want to also give double honors to the elders of Israel. And I want to give double honors to the Akim that scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching his word in truth and sincerity. And today, I want to talk about Israel, the nation of Israel. I want to talk about us, the 12 tribes. And I want to talk about what God has in store for us. And I also want to talk about what God has in store for the other nations, the other people. So we're going to start off with the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them, and Salakia, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his sons, and his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son. Salakia. Nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. So the Most High is telling his people, when he bring them into this promised land, that he's going to it's going to be other nationalities of people. There's going to be other people in the land. The Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, so on and so on. So he's saying, when we get to this land and find these people in this land, they ain't doing it. They just over there cooling and chilling. But the Most High say, go over there and smite them. He say, don't show them no type of mercy. He say, utterly destroy them. So he's telling his people to go and slaughter these other people who are heathens. The definition of a heathen is someone who is not of the nation of Israel. So way back in antiquity, in the beginning of time, the Most High sent his chosen people, Israel, to go to the land of Canaan, and to take that land and to destroy the people that was living on that land. Because they was wicked anyway, and he made them, the Most High made those people, those Hittites and Girgashites and Amorites and Canaanites, and etc. He made those people just to set them up to be destroyed. That was his purpose for setting those people up, just to destroy them. And we know that the Most High moves in that manner, because in the book of Shalakia, bear with me, in the book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 10, let me go to it. The book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 10. We know that God set people up for destruction, because that's how he moves, because this is his movie, this is his world, this is his book. He wrote it out from beginning to end. He knows what's going to happen. So when he wrote this movie out called Planet Earth that we live on, he chose some people to destroy them and set them up to be destroyed. It ain't have nothing to do with what that person did or what those people did, but according to God's election for his purpose. The book of Romans chapter 9 verse 10 says, and not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So the Most High chose a specific group of people to be his chosen people, and everybody else, it don't matter what they do. They don't matter if they did good or evil. He didn't choose them. So it don't matter if Mr. White Man want to give out food and drop rice packages on the Africans. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what he want to do. He ain't bringing no water to Flint, Michigan. The people in Flint, Michigan, Dan ain't got no water. But they not saying nothing about that. But anyway, um, I'm gonna go on to verse 12. No, to verse 15. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth nor runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. So it doesn't matter what you do as a person, as a nation of people. Everything was already mapped out, written out by Yahweh Shai in the beginning of time through the Spirit of the Most High. Everything was already set according to God's plan and purpose. So God chose, Salakia, I'm going to go back up. As it is written, verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. So the Most High chose all Edomites. Edomites are the descendants of Esau. God hates Esau and everyone who descends out of him. So we can't say that God is wrong or unrighteous because he chose somebody to set them up to destroy them. He chose us and set us up to be beautiful melanated beings. While yet the Edomites have vicious lice during lice season, eating they scalp out. They can't survive in the sun for 30 minutes without the sun eating them alive, burning them alive. They the vampires of the earth. All Edomites are the vampires, are the devils of the earth that the Bible speak of. So I just want to let us know, I just want to let y'all know, the nation of Israel, I just want to let my people know that you are special to the Most High. Otherwise, he would have made you like the heathens, like those so-called Japanese and Chinese, mongoloids, Down syndrome babies. He could have made you a Edomite, a white person, or he could have made you a Chinese, and you could have been walking around here slow, you know. But he didn't choose you. He chose you to be the greatest and the best above all people. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So yes, we want to thank Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, for making me an Israelite. I thank the Most High that I was born in America. I thank the Most High that I descended from slaves. I thank the Most High that I descended from Israel, from Abraham, Isaac, and come out of the loins of Jacob. I thank the Most High for all of the trouble and hardship and pain that we had to endure, because it shows us the signs that we are his chosen people. And it says, verse 7, the Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people, but because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, and from the Pharaoh king of Egypt. So the Most High has taken his special chosen people and delivered them from out of slavery, out of Egypt. Now, as you see, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So we're gonna go into these curses that show us who we are, because you can't be the Most High's chosen people if you haven't went through these curses. I'm sorry to tell you that. So let's go through some of these curses. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. We're going to start at verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So the Most High is telling us that if we fail to listen to what he's saying to us, and what he was saying was follow his commandments and statutes and laws, If we would listen to if we don't listen to what he says, that all these curses shall come upon thee. And we all know that a curse is a bad thing. It's not a great thing to be cursed. So let's see what are some of the curses that he put on his people for not wanting to listen to his commandments and his laws. He says, verse 16, cursed shall thou be in the city.
Why is a life full of adventures?
Salakia, Israel. He says, cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Now, I'm from Chicago, born and raised, the South Side. This is a big city. You have a few small pockets in the city where Edomites, so-called white people, are living, flourishing, living great. And then you have some pockets in the community where black people, so-called black people, are living good, living great. But the majority of the inner cities throughout America, the people, the so-called black people, are cursed in the city. They're the ones being shot down like dogs by each other and by the police. They're the ones who can't get a. You have all these different nationalities of people moving into the so-called black community from around the world. They move here and get business loans and open up beauty salons, nail salons, liquor stores, clothing stores, gas stations. And we here in our own community can't even get a damn job sweeping and mopping. You know, you got niggas walking around robbing and killing their own brother for $300. Breaking into people's houses, killing people for $200 or $300. You know, so we are cursed in the city, man. Who was cursed in the field? My city is the field. My city, Chicago. If you go on the internet right now, type in the field, Chicago, you're gonna see that my city is the field. This is where Israelites, so-called black man, the curses is on us. We killing each other like crazy. We going crazy, killing each other, but look at the field, the slave field. Who was in the slave field, cursed in the slave field? Picking cotton and sugar cane and tobacco. Who was cursed in the field? See, these curses that I'm showing y'all identify who God's chosen people is. So you cannot be God's chosen people if you are not cursed in the city and cursed in the field. Let's get some more curses. Salakia. "37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee." So how come they don't call us Israelites like he named us originally? How come they call us proverbs and bywords? All nations call us that. Everywhere you go across the world, nigga, you can hear them in Chinese, nigga, nigga, nigga. They gonna call you nigga wherever you go. They're gonna call you black wherever you go, a black man. They're not calling you Israelites, your true God-given nationality. We the only people in the world who go around, we can travel the world anywhere we go, they're gonna call us a color or a derogatory term. So that's another curse that's set upon our people that shows us who we are. It says, verse 41, "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity." So when we got off those slave ships, August 20th, August 21st, 1619, when we got off those slave ships in Jamestown, Virginia, what did they do to our kids, to our young? They separated everybody. They took the mother and they took the husband and they took the kids and they separated each and every one of them and sold them to other people to be slaves, sex slaves, to whatever type of slave, whatever type of use you could use a human being for. The Edomites, the so-called white race, took the so-called black race, the Israelites, and used them for slaves, for their enjoyment. And it says, the stranger, verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come very low. like I was saying, you got all these. You got the Chinese man, the Korean man, the so-called Chinese man, so-called Korean man. You know what I'm saying? You got the so-called Arabic man, Arab. You got the so-called East Indian man, and they all come into our community and get very high above us and sell us squares. We buying squares and blunts from all these people, and they want to tweak with us over 10 cents. We short 10 cents. Well, you might probably make a 15, 20, $30 purchase. You short 10 cents, they going to embarrass you, not even let you walk out the store with a 10-cent shortage on your funds. So these people, and then they go home to their house in the suburbs, not on the inner city. They leave and go to the suburbs and live comfortably, deliciously off of your hard-earned money that they overtaxing you on and selling you pork chops and bacon slabs and killing you and keeping you within sin, breaking God's laws. God said don't eat pork. But that's why we in this mess, because we don't want to follow his laws. So he put everybody up high above us, man. Verse 46, and they shall be a sign upon thee for Salakia, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Forever, man, until Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, comes back and crack that sky. We gonna go through this forever as a nation of people. Yeah, we got a few individuals. The curses, we coming up out of the curses that we in the end times. We in the book of Revelation. So the curses is slowly reversing and going on to the Edomites, and we are becoming prosperous here in America. So yes, you have a few select few that's coming up, but for the most part, the majority of us as a nation of people as a whole, collectivism, we are collectively under these curses still. It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So we're going to be looking at ourselves, wondering what's going on. Why is we still in these predicaments and in these conditions? It said right here, these curses in Deuteronomy 28. Tell us why. Because we didn't obey God's commandment. Verse 48, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Remember slavery? When remember the movie Django when they was walking and they had the yokes of iron on their neck? Salaki, I'm not even sure if that was in that beginning scene. I'm not even sure if they had yokes of iron on their neck. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Chains on your neck. So-called African American slaves had chains on their necks, yokes of iron, where you couldn't really barely move. And you had to work from sun up to sundown. And what they say right here, check this out. This is the proof. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar. We was cooling in West Africa doing our thing, cooling amongst the Africans. But they was jealous of us and sold us out into the enemies. But look, it said right here, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, the nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Now, come on, man. If you want to get this, something wrong with you. If you want, you say you believe in the Bible, you say you believe in the Most High. He's telling you right here that white Americans is gonna come, or not white Americans, but white people in general, because that's their symbol. The eagle is the symbol of the white race. Look at Hitler and the Nazis. Look at ancient Rome, and look at America. That's the symbol. That's the animal, the symbolic animal for the white race, the Edomites. They like to exalt themselves high above everyone else, like the eagle. It's a proud animal, you know. So it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Didn't they just shoot their pregnant lady a few months ago? The lady was pregnant. I forgot which city and state, but the lady was pregnant. She say, "I'm pregnant, sir." He say, "Bow bow," and shot the lady 8 times. He ain't care if she was pregnant, if she was old, she was a little boy, little girl, little kid. It doesn't matter with these people, with these Edomites. They don't care. They don't regard nothing but themselves. And then here's the main curse that's going on in my city right now in the field, in Chicago. Verse 54, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, because back in antiquity, when God first gave us the land and we was ruling and in the land of Israel, living in peace with the Most High powers, we was tender and delicate amongst each other. I would walk up to another brother and say, "How you doing, King? You need anything? Is your people straight? How y'all living in the house? Y'all is what I'm saying? What's going on? Y'all need what y'all need?" And that's how it used to be back in antiquity. But now it says, Salakia, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. So we the only group of people in the whole world that walks down the block and mean mugs our brother and probably end up fighting or shooting or having words or y'all know how it is when you looking at somebody, just to look at somebody in their eye. We look at them and get to tweaking with them. What is you looking at? Stop tweaking with me, bro. Looking crazy. So, that's what we go through. Like, the Chinese man ain't walking mean mugging the other Chinese man finna tweak with him and kill him. But that's us going through that. Who else tweaking with like, baby mamas? Ain't nobody tweaking with the mother of their kids like black people. You know what I'm saying? Arguing to the top of their lungs, screaming, yelling, hate their baby mama with a passion. And that's what make them, that's not what makes them lead the children. What makes them black men lead the children is it's a curse that God put on us. God put a curse on us to lead the children. It says, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall lead. When you say deadbeat baby daddy, man, do you think about Jackie Chan, or do you think about the Arab man, or do you even think about the white man? No, when you hear the term deadbeat father, you automatically think about the black man, because it's a curse on our people that we gonna kill each other, we gonna argue and tweak with our brothers and even our wives, and even our children. We gonna leave our children, So, what's the next one, man? 68, man. Let me skip down to 68. This is the curse, man, about slavery with the ships. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with the ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it again no more, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So the Most High saying, if we fail to follow these commandments that he gave Moses to give to us, if we fail to follow them, that in the near future, we would end up going into Egypt again. And Egypt is another word for slavery or bondage. The word Egypt just is a Greek word for bondage or slavery. So the Lord shall bring thee into slavery again with ships. So the Most High has chosen people who he loved, who he sent his son, Yahweh Shai, to die for. He said that his people were going to slavery on ships. Now, what race of people do you know of in world history ever went into slavery on ships? Who's known for being into slavery on ships, man? So-called black people. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it again no more. So remember that land that he had us slaughter those people and just utterly destroy them and move them out of that land called Canaan and rename that land Israel. He said we're not going to see it no more again. We're not going to see it no more again. We're not going to be able to live in that land and rule and live as kings in that land never again. And he says, here in America, ye shall be sold unto your enemies for slave men and slave women, and no man shall redeem you. That word buy that you see there is not buy, because we were obviously sold into slavery to our enemies for slave men and slave women, and no man shall buy. When you see the word buy, it means redeem. Like you redeem somebody out of an NBA contract, you buy them out of their contract, you buy back. Right? So the Most High is going to send Yahweh Shai to redeem us. That's where our redemption lies at. Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he is going to redeem us. So that's what it all boils down to, man. We have to come back to our true nationality. Let me get Psalms 83:1. We have to come back to our true nationality, our heritage that the Most High gave us, and come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and keep the faith in Yahweh Shai. We have to have faith. You have to believe that he's going to have mercy for you, on you. But now, this is how our nationality was stolen from us. This is why we no longer call ourselves Israelites. We call ourselves black or Afro-American or a nigger or a colored or Afro. What Jesse Jackson name was? African American at 1986, 88. But this is the book of Psalms. This is how they took our nationality and culture from us and made us, they made us forget, we forgot about it. It was the Illuminati, the so-called Illuminati. It was not started or founded in 1776. The Edomites, the so-called white man, started the Illuminati thousands of years ago. And the Illuminati is basically a group of people who conspire to keep God's chosen people down. So here it is right here. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom. And if you don't know what the word Edom means, the word Edom means red. The red people. Because they're not white. White is the color of the background. Red is the color of the highlighted marker on the scriptures. That's red. So when white people get in the so-called white people get in the sun, or you smack them in the back of the neck, they turn red. So the white people was the first group of people. They was the head niggas at the group, head niggas in charge. It said the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, which are the Arabic people, the Arabs. So you got the white people and the Arabs. And then it says of Moab and the Hagarites, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. So Moab would be the so-called Chinese man. So way back in antiquity, when we was living cooling in our kingdom of Jerusalem, Israel, you got the Edomites, the Ishmaelites, and the Moabites, which would be white people, Arabs, and Chinese people. And then you got Amalek, which would be the fake Jews. And then you got the Philistines, which would be Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre, which would be more Africans. So we chilling in Israel, man, our business. Here come the Edomites, the Ishmaelites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Amalekites, the Philistines, and Tyre. You had these groups of people that conspired together to cut us off from being a nation because they was jealous and hated us because God made us above all people, like I just read to y'all, Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. So that's how it happened, man. You know, that's how it happened. That's how they took crafty counsel against thy people. That means they took sneaky counsel and said, we got to cut these niggas off from being a nation. Because if we don't, these niggas going to take over the world. They got too much power. We had the most high power with us. So I just want to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, and Yahweh Shah. And I want to tell everybody who can hear this, man, that you have to separate from American ways of living. America keeps none of the Most High's laws. And by you walking around saying that you're black or African American or American, you are condoning the transgressions that this nation is committing against the Most High's laws. So you have to come up out of that or be destroyed with America. This place is going to be destroyed, man. We ain't got too much time left. It's urgent. This is an urgent message to so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians. Separate yourself and come out from among her. Come out from among Babylon. Come out from among America. America is Babylon the Great, and it's going to be destroyed.